Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Chelsea Godfather channel. Guys, in my village, there's a saying that goes, Obuoge nwe plans. Obuoge nwe plans. You guys are like, what the heck is that? Guys, it is what it is. When you're looking at, somebody and the person looks like he's a fool, he looks like he's incompetent and he doesn't know what the heck he's doing. You may want to look a little bit, closer because there may be a situation that shows that that person actually has plans. Like the person you think is otherwise wasting his time and just wasting everybody's time and doing, nothing. He actually has thought way far ahead of you and I. And, what am I talking about? I'm talking about none other than Todd Bowley and his board and those who help them to structure deals. Bowley and his people. I mean, they've taken a hell of a beating in the last season because of. I mean, guys. I mean, can you blame fans? I mean, we finished 12th place. We spent 600 million. We finished 12th place, and we had three managers last season. So understandably, and everybody has doubts on Bowley and his plans and this, that, and the other. But so what's the whole purpose of this ramble? Well, the whole purpose of this ramble is the fact that today it's a done deal. It's a done deal. Kai Havertz has been sold off to Arsenal for total fee of 65 million pounds, a 60 million of guaranteed money plus 5 million of add-ons. And obviously all this is subject to Harvard's passing his medicals, but otherwise it's a done deal. He's reached personal terms with Arsenal, and so this deal is done. So that's at least 60 million pounds that Bowley has on deck right now, in addition to all the money that they were able to raise from selling. I think at least three of the four players that have been confirmed as having been sold to various clubs in Saudi Arabia. At least three of those players have generated fees somewhere, depending on who you ask. It's anywhere between 40 to 50 million pounds. So if you add at least the 40, let's go on the low side of 40 plus the 60, that's 100 million that he's been able to claw back, in addition to all of the massive wages that have been pretty much erased from our books, moving forward. So this is nice from financial fair play point of view. You guys are beginning to see things a little bit more clearly, and that's why when fans were complaining and moaning and criticizing Bowley at every turn, I was like, listen, why don't we just kind of slow down a little bit. The transfer window, at the time hadn't even opened. It just opened about a week ago. So I mean, we're literally roughly about a week into this transfer window, and now we're now beginning to see the plans. We're now beginning to see the plans. What seemed like Chelsea had no plans. Folks are beginning to see the plans. The media has been into crying and moaning and complaining. Now the moaning and the complaining, they were the ones that were making fun of Bowley. They were making fun of Bowley, and now they're the same folks that are now going to complain and call Todd Bowley a cheat and say that Chelsea is cheating and circumventing FFP rules by doing deals with Saudi clubs. It is crazy, guys. It is just It is just absolutely mad. It's absolutely mad. So, yeah, I mean, now how do I feel about selling to a rival? I mean, guys, nobody wants nobody wants Chelsea. Like if you're a diehard fan, you don't want to see us selling to Arsenal. But it's again, it's not the first time that we sold to Arsenal. It's not going to be the last time either. So yeah, sometimes it is what it is. It's not an ideal thing to do, but in this case, it may end up being a win-win. It may end up being a win-win because on our side, we already know the win. The win is that we're able to claw back pretty much what we paid for Havertz. So that's, I mean, this is like a great deal for Chelsea. On the Arsenal side, I mean, they get a 24-year-old player. They get a 24-year-old player who still hasn't yet showed his best form. He came in on great promise from Bayern Leverkusen and arrived at Chelsea, showed some few flashes, here and there. And for me, he was partly, held back by, unfortunately, on timely injuries, and then also the fact that during his three seasons, I believe he's been with us for three seasons at Chelsea. He's had I don't know what, like six. How many managers do he have? Yeah, he's had Lampard twice. He's had Tuchel and Potter. So Lampard twice, Tuchel, Potter. That's basically four managers. So he's had four managers in 3 seasons. Basically, every season he's had like a brand new manager. And so, I mean, that's, some players can make do with any manager, right? If you're Eden Hazard in his prime, if you're Drogba, you feel me, in their prime, like these guys, they, just give them a ball, tell them what to do, and they'll, Essien, Kante, those guys, it doesn't matter who the, manager is, whether there's a system on ground. They just play on a different level, and their level is so high that other players, it very much pulls other players up to their level, so that in as much as there's seemingly stability in terms of constant managerial change, on the on-field results for the most part still continue to be productive, right? And in a way masked over the fact that we were pretty much running an operation in an ideal way, because it's really not ideal to be having a new manager every single year, right? And some players suffered. Some players suffered, and I feel like Havertz is one of those players. He strikes me as a player that if you put him in an environment where there is a stability, I'm not saying that he's going to be like some kind of world class striker scoring 30 goals or 40 goals a year, but he's going to be productive. So now, obviously, as having said that, I'm a Chelsea fan. I don't want him to do well at Arsenal. But the reality is, I'm just going to talk. I'm talking about it in terms of how I feel about the player. And unlike some fans, I actually like Havertz. I like Havertz. The only issue that I have with Kai Havertz was that he was consistent. He was consistent in his in the application of his effort on the field. That was my own. It's not the goals and assists. See, the goals and assists, those things come when you consistently apply yourself, and you're always mentally switched on. And Havertz half the time was not mentally switched on, and that was my main gripe. And who knows, maybe part of that is, again, having different managers, different systems. Half the year you have a different manager, different system. And so some players can cope, some players are not able to quickly cope. And I feel like Havertz was one of those players who was held back. His career growth was held back as a result of that at Chelsea. So in any event, so that's a done deal. Then the other player to discuss is none other than proper Charles, Mason Mount, proper Charles. Mason Mount is, obviously we already know that he's, pushing, he's pushing his way out of the club, kicking and, screaming. He's turned down multiple offers from going all the way back from, Roman all the way to Bowley. The last offer was £200,000 a week. He turned that down. It is, what it is. I mean, you and I know that this is not a money issue. For me, the reason why Mount has refused to extend his contract has more to do with the fact that he has a lot of new faces on the field fighting for his spot. And some players, I don't know. I mean, I never would have seen Mason Mount as that type of player. But I mean, some players, they are do their best stuff when they know that their shirt is not being challenged. I know it sounds crazy, but that's just my own take because nothing else makes sense. Nothing else makes sense, why a player would just all of a sudden, pack up and just decide to leave. Why? Because he has serious fight. He's for his spot he had to fight with Kunku, Modric, Madueke. These are attacking players, and that's his role because Mason Mount never was a deep line midfielder. He never was like a traditional midfielder. He wasn't Frank Lampard type of midfielder in as much as he likes to score goals like Lampard, but he's nowhere near what Frank Lampard was as a player. And so he's more or less like an attacking player. And definitely he's a very good player. He's going in the right system. He's going to score. He's going to score a lot of goals, and that's why Todd Bowley is asking for £70 million. And as it turns out, Man U has increased their previously ridiculous £40 million opening offer. That was just an absolute insult, and they just increased it to £50 million. Okay. Fair play. You have tried, right, Abi? You have tried, but it's still remaining. We're not quite there. You're getting a little closer, but we're still £20 million off. I mean, if this deal is gonna get done, Man U's gonna have to pull up their big boy pants and put an offer that is well over £60 million, just like Arsenal did. You're gonna have to do what Arsenal did. Right, you're gonna have to do what Arsenal did because it is what it is. I mean, if you want this player badly, then you're gonna have to put your money where your mouth is, and that's why Bowley and his group have to be commended because when fans were criticizing Bowley, say, how can you overprice your players in the transfer market? How can you overprice? Which is nonsense, absolute nonsense. When Chelsea's out there buying players, Bowley's out there buying players at very high prices. But then when it comes to Bowley selling players, you all, some of these, Chelsea fans want him to just kind of offload his players for like, pennies on the, dollar, which doesn't make any sense. So I trust Bowley because I know that Bowley is not going to let Mason Mount go on the cheap. It's going to be a number over 60 million pounds. Mind you knows that they have gotten up to 50, so they're only about 10 million pounds away to you feel me, to put a number on the table that's going to give Bowley possibly a change of heart and say, you know what, okay, I'm at 70. I think I may be able to come down from 70 and just let Mason Mount go on to old Trafford for somewhere in the 60 plus million pound range. Guys, how do you all feel about today's news of Havertz to Arsenal and Mason Mount's 50 million pound bid being rejected? Please comment below and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. Peace.